Arabic language at different levels. Being fluent in the Arabic language, she used to work in major Arab organizations. Ustazah Bushra is currently working as a Senior Executive Officer in Da'wah at Muslims Converts Association of Singapore. As a mother of one, she juggles her responsibilities as a mother at home while actively conducting religious classes and lectures, inshallah. Thank you, Ustazah Bushra and Nemaat for being with us here today. We are so excited. Thank you for everyone for coming and making time on a Saturday to join us. Okay? So I think this topic is actually very hot and very exciting. Am I rushing into marriage? And how do I know if I am rushing into marriage or not? Right? Am I running away from something? Why am I rushing into marriage? Okay? So we are going to answer some of the very exciting questions that all of us want to know. And it's a very important question. Okay? So we are confident in making decisions for our lives, our future, okay? And we are self-aware of what the factors that is building up to that decision of marriage. Okay, are you ready? Am I ready? Okay, so before we start, inshallah, just to remind all of you, if you have any questions, you can go to slido.com/ladiestalk. Okay, so you can just drop your questions there, and inshallah we'll try our best to answer, okay? Okay, let's begin with the first question. Ustazah, how do I realize if I am ready for marriage or not? Not yet. How do we realize this?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, thank you to Habibullah and Ustazah Fatimah and everyone for this kind of question. Okay, the topic, rushing into marriage, right? When I receive the topic, I want to feel like, okay, who am I not to do? Okay, so basically, the question, how do I assess or how do I know that I'm ready, I'm okay for marriage? Okay, so first of all, I would like to use the hadith. Rasulullah SAW said, "Oh young man, those among who can support a wife should marry, for it refrains eye from asking to glance and preserve one from immorality. But he who cannot afford marriage should observe fast, for it is need to control the sexual desire." But then you see, Rasulullah said to the guy. So actually, for me, I feel this hadith is applicable for men and women. Okay. For us, when we want to get married, we also need to ask ourselves, what am I setting intention for to get married? What do I want to get married? Is it I want to get married? Find companion because you can't stand the loneliness. That is not quite accurate intention. So you must recheck and reset the intention. And then when the word says ready, right? A lot of women, when they want to get married, they think, oh, when I get married, then I have a companion. Then my husband will give me allowance. Then I'll get to buy a house. Then I will get this, get this. But ask yourself, what is it that you are ready to give your husband? Okay, so in life, we have to have a mindset. We also want to receive and give. Okay, we cannot be expecting things from people but don't want to give something back. Okay, we must be ready to give. You have the intention and the mindset, I am here to serve, to give. What? To give love, to give moral support, emotional support, education, spiritual support. All this is what we are going to give lah. Okay, and as human, both come from different background. If you choose to get married, there are things that you need to sacrifice. You may have to give in certain things that you want in order for you to achieve Allah's rida. Okay, not to make your husband become better than you and you become lesser than your husband. No, for you to become a human, okay, you must feel safe with each other. You must feel confident with each other. You must be able to share your thought and also receive guidance from each other. And let's look at how Rasulullah SAW, after he received the first wahyu from Malaikat Jibril at Jabal Nur, he come back home shivering, right? And he was in shock. He told Siti Khadijah to give him a blanket. After he get the blanket, he come down, then he told Siti Khadijah what happened to him. Am I crazy? Then what does Siti Khadijah did? Okay, first when Rasulullah was shivering, was in shock, he just keep quiet, just give blanket, give space. That one is a considered support also. After Rasulullah confide, then only she open up her mouth. Okay, he said, no, you are not crazy. You never hurt anyone. You never make any people feel miserable. How could Allah make something to make you feel crazy or something like that? So as a human being, sometimes we also have to receive emotional support, and we also need to give emotional support. So emotional support is the most important thing, which a lot of human beings don't know how to give and receive. Okay, so the next question you want to ask, am I emotionally available for myself? That one you really need to sit down and ask yourself. If the answer is yes, Alhamdulillah, I mean you are ready lah for the next step. But if you say, I don't think so, I'm ready lah, I also don't like myself, then you really need to check again. That's all.
Shukran, Ustazah. So can I ask you a follow-up question to that question? Do you think loneliness or wanting companionship, or maybe people who have desires for the opposite gender, right? They want to get married. So is that not a valid reason to get married?
One of the faedah, benefit of getting married is to get a companionship. But at the same time, when you are single, you must be able to accept the loneliness. You must be able to learn to be by yourself, be okay with silence, be okay with no one is around you. Okay, you want to know, try living in a room with no one, and then you see for the 15 minutes, can you sit down without touching your handphone? If you can, and you don't feel like macam tak tentu arah, right? Then that is okay lah. A lot of people, they cannot stand silent, loneliness. Okay, that one is another disease that you need to seek as professional to really help you. Okay, wanting someone to be a companion, okay, that's fine. But you have to have a limit, because at the end of the day, we will go to the grave alone. Okay, so there are times when we need our companion. There are times when we need to be alone. Okay, so you have to learn the need for companionship. Is it you are trying to run away from something, or you really means that, okay, for you to become a good companion, you can be together and you are okay not to be together. That is the healthy meaning of someone who is ready to have a companionship lah.
Okay, thank you. So basically, we can understand that if we are able to be alone with ourselves, it means that we are actually at a healthy place. Then we can be with someone else and be okay with not them being with us 24 hours a day like that. Okay. So, Ustazah Bushra, why do some people actually rush into marriage now?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First and foremost, thank you very much, Ustazah Fatimah. I personally thank you for inviting me, and I thank Al-Muttaqin for giving me this opportunity to be with you today. So without further ado, I'll just move on to the question. Okay, so when we talk about like rushing into marriage, right? I think like that the question of like, you know, desire, the need of companionship, these are all things that are quite natural. I think everybody have once, I think at least once in their life experience, or even more than once, experience that feeling of like, you know, I need somebody. I need to have a companion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us as such that we are in need actually of human connection. So companionship is something that is actually an innate nature of human being, fitrah. You know, most probably you will never find any human being that repulse, you know, having companionship, or having any companion, or having any human connection. Very, very rare do you find that. Usually these people would be, you know, somebody who has some sort of mental illness. Then they can't stand another human being. But as a nature, human being need human connection. So this is one part. But are we looking for a healthy companion, or are we actually codependent? We can't survive alone. Okay, so that is the question I think Ustazah Nemaat mentioned, that you need to know whether you as yourself can be alone. In order for you to know if you're ready for marriage or anything, you need to know that, okay, I can actually be alone, but you know, it's not a bad thing to have somebody else. It's a nice thing to have companion, to have somebody that I can, you know, discuss things with. The second reason I would say, a lot of us as Muslims, we envision this. We want a halal boyfriend. We can't, I mean, as a Muslim, we grow up knowing that, you know, boy-girl relationship is something that is impermissible in Islam. You're not supposed to walk around holding hands, or even communication, there are limits to it between the opposite gender and us. So when we grow up, I think at the age 16 already, every single Muslim woman or man, I think, have this vision of like, you know, I need to get married soon so that I can like walk around in the mall holding hands, watch a movie together, you know, sanda. These kind of, I think a dream or fairy tale kind of dream is true. So people rush into it because they like, you know, I need to settle down ASAP. Because seriously, everybody is like, you know, have boyfriend and girlfriend, and the media is showing me that, being in a relationship is like perfect. It brings you all the happiness in the world. You have somebody to hug and kiss and what not. And I can only get that through marriage. So I'm going to rush into it without even thinking through this thing. The third thing is, I think, FOMO. Fear of missing out. When people around you start to get married, then you're like, am I the only one yang tak laku? Right? Then you start asking like, okay, my cousin is getting married, my sister is, my friend, everybody in my group is married. What about me? Then you start rushing it. You find the first person that come and maybe ask your hand, even if it's through asking your hand, it can be a wrong decision. You can rush into it. You don't settle for anybody that just come for you. Anybody, when a person come, yes, that's noble. MashaAllah, maybe they meet your family, that's good. Alhamdulillah, if it goes well, if they meet all the criterias and they do not have the red flags, they pass all the tests, especially I think when it comes to like religion, these are things that is important, akhlaq, these are things that are very important, and there is no codependency, then maybe, then that's the right person. But if they don't tick all the boxes, you don't have to just accept a person just because they come and ask for your hand. And then I think the fourth and the fifth is, the fourth is society's expectation. Like, hey, 24, not married yet. 28, oh my God, this is going to be too late for you. Dah balik university, you have graduated for a few years already, you have worked for 2 years, they put that, timeline for you to meet. And it's a timeline that is not real. It's unrealistic expectation because everybody settle down when it's the time or the right time for them. It doesn't mean that you are not married at 28. You're never going to be married. You might get married at a later age. And it doesn't mean that if you get married at 22, it's going to be a happy marriage forever. And it's not going to end up in a divorce, and you are not going to maybe die alone at the very end of your life. So those things have to be taken into consideration. And I think the fifth one is, I think, the most important one. A lot of us are trying to fill a void inside us. Every one of us, I think, that is sitting here, we have a void, that empty hole inside of us that needs to be filled inside the heart. This void, we try to fill it with everything. We try to fill it with dunya. We try to fill it with Netflix. We try to fill it with social media, instant gratification, likes on Facebook, popularity on TikTok, whatever it is. We also try to fill it by, having a husband. Oh, maybe if I get married, my heart might be full. But let me tell you this. That void that is inside of you, it is a God-shaped void. It will never be filled by anything from this world, be it a halal thing or a haram thing or anything. It can never fill it. So no human being on the face of this earth can fill your heart. Never. So marriage is not like a band-aid that you can put on top and then you start feeling like, oh, okay, I'm very happy. Now I'm contented already because of marriage. No. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Ustazah. That was a lot. How is everyone doing? Can I just know how many of you are married? Show of hands. No one is married here. At the back, dia angkat tangan. Okay, so who is going to get married soon? Maybe no potential marriages yet? Okay, so everyone is at the phase of maybe finding a spouse or trying to think of if marriage is a good option right now. Okay, so okay. Now, the very important questions that I think a lot of us wants to know, and we have received a number of questions on it. What are the red flags that should never be ignored from our potential partner and also ourselves? Okay, so there's two parts to the question. Red flags from the partner and also ourselves. Ustazah Nemaat, sorry, that one is for Ustazah Bushra.
Okay, so when we talk about red flags, right? Red flags can range from one end of the room to the other end. I mean, it is so wide. There are so many red flags. And a red flag for me might not be a red flag for you. You see? So, but I can give you a list of red flags that is considered like a generic kind of answer that you can actually look into, and inshallah, may it benefit. Okay, so in these red flags, right, I'm not going to put religion or lack of religion in it, because I believe that when you look into marriage, religion would be like a qualification factor. So people that maybe does not have religion as something that is a part of them, like maybe they are not a practicing Muslim or something like that, then that shouldn't even qualify them to enter into this stage where you are now looking for red flags. Okay, so for me, religion shouldn't be part of the red flag. So if a person doesn't have a religion, you don't even consider them first lah. Because I mean, how can a person who does not believe and obey the Creator suddenly want to treat you well? Based on whose rules are he gonna, is he gonna treat you? Based on whose rules? Human rules? Is that fair? So I think, religion, I'm not going to put it in here. So, number one, I would say for a woman looking for a potential spouse or husband, I would say an overly controlling, overly jealous, and a person who does not have trust. Okay, who has trust issues. So, it depends. A little bit is okay. So red flags can sometimes become yellow flags. Yellow flags mean you look into it, you address the issues, and the issues get solved. or gets addressed lah. Maybe not solved totally, but at least addressed, okay? And that person acknowledged that, oh, okay, yes, I do have this, I'm working on it, this is what I'm doing to address it. Okay, so that becomes yellow flag. But it becomes red flag is when that person deny it totally. Oh no, I'm not controlling, but he is controlling. How would you say a person is controlling? Is that the person controls the way you dress. Not based on Sharia, not like, okay, you are not wearing socks, wear socks. This is not that person's ruling, that is Allah's ruling. So when it's Allah's ruling, that is not controlling, okay? That is just the person telling you, you should follow what Allah asks you to do. And you should actually, you know. So this is talking about like, hey, you wear pink, I hate pink, wear blue. You're wearing jubah, no, wear baju kurung. Whatever, you know. So that's overly controlling. Where are you going? Oh, don't talk. Don't go to school. Those kind of thing is treated over controlling. Jealous. A person who is jealous unreasonably. A healthy amount of jealousy is okay, but overly jealous. Like if you talk to your own maybe cousins or family members, and you know that you keep yourself in line, that you do not, go against the boundaries of Sharia, but this person is still jealous for no particular reason. Just jealous, okay? For no reason. Okay, and lack of trust, like where are you going, with whom? And then he would call you, and then he would open location, and then he would do this. This is not going to work out on long term, okay? It doesn't work out. Okay, number 2, low self-esteem and codependency. This I put quite high because when a person has low self-esteem, there are so many things that can happen after it. So low self-esteem seems like something that is very, harmless, right? But it is very harmful to a relationship because studies have found out that a lot of men that cheat in marriages are men that have low self-esteem. So they cheat to validate themselves. To say that, actually I'm laku lah, okay je. So they cheat. And I'm hoping and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not make anybody here go through that. But low self-esteem is a huge red flag. And that self-esteem is going to ruin relationships. Okay, and then for the rest of your life, if you do end up with this person, you are going to have to validate their feeling and, boost their ego. And that's not good. Every single day, you're like, you are good, you are amazing, you are good, you are amazing, you are... How long can you do that, right? Okay, and then what about your children then? If you have children and the father of the children is a person who cannot be in leadership roles because he does not have high self-esteem. Okay, and then codependency, a person who cannot be separated from you. Where are you? Please, I need to talk to you. Please come back. I need to talk. Please, can I talk for 5 minutes? Hello, hi. After 5 minutes, call again. After that, no. Even if you have this becomes your problem, and you shouldn't be in a relationship if you have codependency tendencies. Okay. Anger management issues. Even if you have it, you need to solve it first before you enter into any kind of relationship. If not, you might be abusive with your words, with your actions. You might mentally abuse people. You might, physically even abuse. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, actually, women do abuse men in marriage too. Yeah, it's just that a lot of men don't speak out, because it's like, spicy, right? But yeah. So same goes. So if a guy has anger management issues, it's very difficult because they cannot control themselves in anger, and they might end up breaking things, hurting you, hurting the kids. Allahu alam. Okay, so these are things, and especially like when it comes to anger management, if the person is actually trying to solve the issue, it becomes a yellow flag. That means something that you are like, okay, I know you have this problem, you have to fix it before I move forward in the relationship or move into marriage with you. Next one, lack of emotional intelligence, a person who cannot relate. When you say I'm sad, they're like, never mind lah, you need such a small issue. They belittle your feelings. If you say I feel unheard, and that person belittle your feeling, and whatever it is that you say or you bring up in a relationship and try to solve, that person say they just cannot relate to you. Why? Because they lack emotional intelligence. That means they can be, and they can be the smartest people. Usually people say people with high IQ actually have lower EQ. But there are people who have low IQ and low EQ. Then Allahu Alam lah. Okay, that's a problem. That's a bigger musibah. I don't know what to say. Okay, then goes the next one: abuse. Abuse of any kind before marriage, or if you can see any kind of abusive behavior, be it towards you. I mean, if it's towards you, run. Seriously. But if it's towards other people, people can be very verbally abusive to others. Believe me, if you marry these kind of people, when in anger, when situations don't go their way, they might be verbally abusive to you too. And in marriage or relationship, this is not acceptable. Marriage is something that is built on respect and trust. If there is disrespect, especially when it comes to verbal abuse or mental abuse comes from emotional blackmail. If you do this, then I will die. It's okay, you go, I'm fine. A little bit, okay lah, cute. A lot, no. It will be very damaging on the person, okay? Okay, so mental, emotional, and physical abuse. And the last one, the last two ones, addiction. Addiction can be to substance, whatever it is that they're addicted to. Addiction can be to things. If a person is addicted to gaming, beware. One of the highest, I think when it comes to talking to women, right, who are divorced, one of the highest reasons women in Singapore now are getting divorced is because they are married to people who are addicted to gaming. Seriously, the husband comes home, just drop everything there, clothes and all, and shoes and socks, doesn't even pick up after himself, doesn't shower, doesn't do anything, go to the gaming place and play game until it's after midnight. The woman is the one who come back from work and pick up the kids from school, bathe them, clean them, teach them, prepare food for everybody. This guy is not going to do anything. They are addicted. And same goes, I'm saying this, there are women who are addicted to Netflix. Your eyes is like this. You go home now. If you are married, you cannot be addicted to things. You can't. Marriage means you have to prepare or plan your time well, because you're going to be very busy. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna li badanika alayka haqq." Your body has haqq or rights over you. وَلِنَفْسِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٌّ وَلِدِينِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٌّ وَلِأَهْلِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٌّ. Your family has rights over you. So people think that, okay, I get married, but then I can live a single life. Then no, don't get married, right? Don't get married because of that. So any kind of addiction, if you feel like you are dependent, like one day you never watch Korean drama and you cannot live, right? That's a problem. So any form of addiction should be a yellow flag. Once addressed and cannot be controlled, it becomes a red flag. For guys or even girls, addiction to pornography is one of the most common thing now. You know, people are addicted to pornography. Muslims are addicted to pornography. This is something that nobody's talk about, but it is. It is the truth, and it has caused so many marriages to break up. There are people whom, after they get married, they watch pornography together. So yeah, addiction, trying to fit in, you know. This is not how a Muslim family should be. So that is a red flag. Narcissistic behavior. Narcissistic behavior is also one of the most common thing. We keep on hearing it now. No. This is something that you should run away from. Usually a narcissist, this is a mental illness. Narcissist is a red flag, definitely not yellow. This is already a red flag. Usually cannot be healed. You just run away from this person before you lose yourself. Okay, so that's my sharing. I'm so sorry if it's too long. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was just nice. And mashallah, I wrote a lot of the red flags here. Hopefully everyone also jot down. Ustazah, are you okay? You can drink first. Nak kena digest. There's a lot of information. We have received some couple of questions also. If you want to ask live also can. I can just pass the mic if you want your questions to be answered immediately, okay? If not, it will be at the end of the sessions, okay? Okay, Ustazah Nemaat. So after we hear on the red flags, right? How can we then maturely say, okay, no, it's not the right time, and how do we cope? How do we regulate our emotions and be mutually able to accept that, okay, maybe it's not the right time, we are not going to get married now, even though we actually expected that we wanted to get married. Bismillah.
Okay, Bismillah. Okay, so how do you know that you are mature? When you rejecting the proposal because you are mature? Okay, number one, when you still cannot decide what is your intention in getting married. Okay, so it is okay for you to say no. And when you can't fully understand the intention of nikah or the underlying purpose of goal and syariah, there are 5 maqasid syariah in marriage, which we'll talk later. And when you are not ready to give anything or give up certain things in your life, you're not ready to give and take. And as a woman, it's not required to marry a man just because someone come and propose to you. Okay, when you heard the name or when people talk about that person to you, you don't feel any interest or your heart say no, listen to it. Usually it's the right one. Okay, or maybe sometimes mak, the mother said lah, he's a good boy, mak kenal dia. Don't fall into that trap. For as long as your heart cannot open up, don't even try to go to know that person. Okay, so when you want to say no, you have to say, no, I'm not ready. It's just me, myself, not you, not because of you. And doakan that person, may Allah grant him with a better person who is much more suitable for him lah. Okay, so then don't take it personal. Same goes to you. If you happen to like someone, so you use a friend to help you match with that person lah. Then you find out that person is not ready to accept you. It's okay. Accept it with open heart. Because when it's your turn, when it's your jodoh, it's your soul mate, definitely Allah will make it easy for you lah. Okay? That one is for you to say no. But how you want to say yes to someone who don't even say anything to you? I mean, you interested in someone who is amazing. Okay, we follow how Prophet Shu'aib's daughter, she told the father, if you don't have a father, you find someone in your family, your brother ke, your uncle ke, your cousin, who can take care of your name, who can protect your dignity. Tell him that you like this person. Can you help me? Okay, that is how you propose to a guy. You cannot be going to the guy straight. Okay, so saying no is okay, saying yes also okay. So there's no such thing in Islam like pergi cari timba. Right? There's no such thing. If it's the right one, then yes lah. But at the same time, no matter how good the prospect is, how amazing the person who come and propose to you, but if your heart is not ready yet and you are not settled with yourself yet, it is okay for you to say no.
Thank you, Ustazah. The next question is for Ustazah Bushra. What are the struggles of marriage and singlehood?
MashaAllah, this question is, I'm afraid it's going to be longer pula.
Okay, take your time.
So when you wrote this question, right, I was like, wow, this is actually very interesting because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Allah said, what is it? Forgot the ayah. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِالْخَيْرِ وَالشَّرِّ فِتْنَةً. Even in goodness, there is fitna, there is trials. And in bad things, there are also trials. So sometimes, right, human beings, we come with this mentality that it is only during difficulties that, oh, Allah is testing me. We forget that actually even in goodness, there are tests. Life is made as such that every single time, every single day, even when you are at the happiest, highest point of your life, you are actually subtly being tested. Okay, so of course, the Muslim or Muslim person should always be prepared and should always be very aware and know that, oh, I'm being tested actually in goodness. When I'm laughing, like, you know, my heart out, you know, until nak pecah perut, I'm very happy. You know, that happiness, you must always at that very, you know, at that moment, just realize and come to that, you know, shocking moment of like, hey, I'm being tested here. What is it? What is the test? So look into it. So usually people who are single would look at people who are married and say that they are blessed. They are blessed, you know, they have children lah, they have husband lah, they travel, they this nice house, everything. I am stuck here. My mom nagging at me, Ustazah Nemaat. Day and night, I cannot get away. Now Ustazah Nemaat say, because of nagging, you cannot get married, to run away. So, okay, here are. So in the struggles of marriage comes with, if you have a perfect marriage, means you married the right person already. There's no perfect marriage, let me just say, but if you married the right person, the challenges would be, or the struggles would be, adapting to a lot of new changes. If both of you are, you know, have your vision and mission of life and marriage very clear, even during that time, to adapt to each other is very difficult. Imagine growing up your whole life as one person. You never have to match your schedules with somebody else. Right, you don't have to, but suddenly you have to. That is a change. You have to suddenly, additional responsibilities are added to you. Like, you have to prepare this, take over something, you know, just the load of living together. Have you tried living? I don't know if all of you have tried living with friends. You know, if you try living with friends, right, you know, sleepover is fun. But even during sleepover, after the sleepover, you have to clean up, right? Who does the cleaning up? It has to be divided equally. If not, somebody will not be happy, right? Yeah. So that's how marriage is. Imagine this, but longer, years after years after years. So after all that honeymoon phase, that holding hand, cannot stop holding hand phase dies, responsibilities come. Okay? So adapting to a lot of new changes, having new family members, having now in-laws. If last time you have to like visit your mom once a week, now you have to plan to make sure that you visit 2 mothers maybe in 1 week. And you don't have time, right? Singaporeans, we don't have time, but you still have to do that. Okay? And then children and whatnot. Making compromises. This is the second struggle. Good person, you married a good person, he's understanding, he's caring, he doesn't have the red flags, supportive, but you still have to make compromises because both of you are different people. What you like, he might not like. What he likes, you might not even find tolerable. You cannot tolerate. That they once, I think I read a book and that says marriage is actually a man who can't sleep with the windows closed and a woman who can't sleep with it open coming together. You know, so they are opposites. So daily life, you know, how? Who is going to sleep with the window open or closed, or what are we going to do with that window now? You know, are we just going to remove it totally or what? Right? Yeah. So that's one thing. That's the compromises. And then always being able to, always having to make objective decisions together. This is difficult. We are emotional beings. I mean, I'm not saying about women only. Men are also emotional. They have emotions, they have feelings. So we always want to make decisions based on our feeling, what feels good at that time. You know, I'm angry, so I want to be angry. I want to stay angry for maybe 5 days. But if you're married, you can't do that. It will ruin the marriage. You have to talk it out. You have to be clear. You have to you cannot, even during that period of time, like when you are like, I feel like shouting and screaming. You can't be shouting and screaming. You have to make objective decisions. What is better for both of you in your marriage. And then the third one would be staying in love. Falling in love is easy. Staying in love, not very easy. It takes a lot of work. It is daily struggle. It is a daily struggle because you start to know the person inside out. You will see the good side of that person. You will see the bad side of that person. You will see that person at the highest point, the lowest point, every point. And to stay in love means working very, very hard together so that both of you do not fall out of love and be, just taking each other for granted. So that's the struggle of marriage. This is the struggle of a good marriage, I would say. The struggle of a bad marriage, I would just say this: having to fight every single day not to just walk out of that marriage. Like that, and leave everything, leave the children, leave the husband, leave everything and walk and never turn back. That would be a struggle if you fall into the wrong marriage. Means you marry a person who is abusive, you marry a person who is, a person who is narcissistic. There are people who, the struggles of a bad marriage, some people are struggling so that they do not die in that marriage, not get killed, get beaten till death. So the struggles of bad marriage, let's just put it aside because it will take like another whole discussion, I think. Okay, so the struggle of singlehood is like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create us so that we get married. Allah put it inside of us that we have a nature that we are attracted to the opposite gender. It is just how it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants human beings to come together, man and woman, so that they produce offsprings. Okay, it is a part of nature. So when a person is single, there is this, constantly looking out for that partner. Once you come to age, you will definitely start, looking here and there. Is this my person? Is this my imam? Every time you see a person who is like, potentially good, or a person that he meets my criteria, then you are like, who is this person? Where? Why? When? How? All the questions come in. You start asking around. Oh, now married. Then the search start again. So that constant search is actually something that I think takes up a lot of our time as single women. This is not good. As a Muslim, actually, that shouldn't be taking up most of your time. You should be building yourself. I learned, I was talking to a teacher, I think at that time I was still single, and I was talking to a teacher and I was like, we are constantly looking for. And then the teacher said this to me, my ustad, he said this to me. He said, actually, instead of looking for a good spouse, at-tayyibatu lit-tayyibin. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, the good ones, the good women are for good men. So instead of looking for the good man and seeking, just be a good woman. First, make sure that you are at that highest level of goodness. Like you want that man to be of a certain character, then you be it first. Because inshallah, good attracts good. Inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Sometimes our blind spot, because of blind spot, because of, wrong decisions and everything, we fall into the trap of marrying the wrong person. That's fine too. Because if you do it in the right path and in the right way that Sharia have taught you, inshallah, even if it doesn't work out, there will still be goodness and you will be able to see the goodness in it. Okay? But if you are good yourself, you are not losing anything, because at least your slate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clean. You know that in akhirah, definitely Allah will recompensate you fully for whatever it is that you have endured. Okay, so that's one part. Number 2, loneliness. Okay, loneliness, or worse, desperation. We start falling into that, desperation. I'm so desperate. Then we lower our standard and then we just agree to and accept anybody that come for us or like show any form of interest. There are women out there, subhanallah, they have been trying their very best to, look for a potential spouse and they can't find it. And then they fall into the trap of shaitan, which is when a man say all the nice words to them, they believe him. Just like that. But words are words. Actions is everything, right? Words are words. And people can say men. There are so many men out there. I would say even women, but I would say because we are all girls here, let's talk about the men. There are so many men out there who would just say whatever it is that you want to hear to get whatever it is that they want. And then once they are done with you, then all the good things also go away. Okay, so have to be very, very careful not to fall into loneliness and desperation. How do we not fall into that? Remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give everything at good time. Allah knows that maybe Bushra, you at the age now, 35, you do not have a spouse because you can handle it. I am preparing you for something better. Maybe somebody is coming. Maybe if nobody is coming, that's fine too. Because Allah sometimes clear up some people's schedule, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes free up people's time so that Allah can use them for a better thing. Okay, so there are human beings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you say, even though Allah say like, وَخَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا, we created you in pairs. Right, Allah said that. But what if I do not find my pair, right, Ustazah Nemaat? Does that mean that, I'm the, alamak, something is wrong with me? Did Allah forget to assign one to me? No. Sometimes Allah free up your time so that Allah can use you to be one of His armies to do something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you will be recompensated and you would feel that, you would know that, this is some sort of an elevation of status in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so that's good. So remove that feeling of loneliness by being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and filling that void with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and then okay, when you feel lonely, have good companions around you. Do a lot of volunteer works. When you do good things and when you surround yourself with people who are motivated to be selfless, right, you stop feeling too lonely. Because especially when you do volunteer works, you are exposed to people who are at the lowest. There are human beings out there who are in a worse status or in a worse state than us. So what we can do is when we look out and we start, being aware of the people who are around us, the Prophet ﷺ, I think it's not the Prophet saying, I think it is one of the hukama, wisdom, words of wisdom in Arabic, is لا تنظر إلى من هو أعلى منك ولكن انظر إلى من هو أسفل منك. Do not look at people who is at a higher place than you are. Look at those who are lower than you. So when you are out there helping others, volunteering and everything, you are usually exposed to people who are at the worst state, and then you start being grateful, and then that loneliness actually get taken away a little bit by little, inshallah. That's all, Ustazah.
Thank you so much, Ustazah. We have learned a lot, mashallah. Now, Ustazah Nemaat, what are the challenges of a rushed marriage pula? Okay, so after we have understood all about the singlehood and maybe potentially getting married, what if someone actually, they rushed and they got married? So what are some of the struggles that maybe they would go through?
Okay, Bismillah. For me, challenges, be it rush, delayed, planned marriage, definitely will have. As long as we are breathing in this world, we're gonna face some challenges. So, what challenges that possibly could appear for those who rush into marriage is maybe you might not be financially stable. Okay, you might not have chemistry with each other. You might not have emotional connection. You don't know whether you feel safe with that person. You don't know whether you are emotionally safe with that person. Sometimes you also will ask yourself, can I be vulnerable with this person? Can I be myself? Can I be open? Can I express myself openly to this person? And the most important thing is that you might lost the chance to find out whether do you feel at peace with this person. The most important ingredient in happy marriage or marriage, there's no perfect marriage, but marriage that is blessed by Allah, as when you look at each other, you feel at peace, you feel calm. That is the main ingredient. If there's no peace, you always have worry about this person, right? Then there's no point in becoming husband and wife. So that's the only challenge that I can see, the big one lah. You don't have chemistry. If you don't have chemistry, how are you going to talk? How are you going to communicate? Okay, and if you don't feel safe with this person, how are you going to sleep peacefully next to this person? Okay, if you don't have trust with this person, how are you going to be yourself? Okay, so that's the among the challenges that I can think of for rush marriage so far.
Okay, Ustazah, how about okay, now it's the question that we've gotten a lot of questions also from Slido. From the registrations during the registration. What should we know before deciding on getting married? So maybe like the checklist for getting married, the preparations for getting married. Yeah. Ustazah Nemaat, can?
Okay. So this one, the answer is going to be a bit long. Okay, so number one, before you want to decide to get married, number one, you must understand, you must internalize, you must really put into your lifestyle that Allah create you in this world is for us all to become His slave, to become His servant, to worship Allah. That is your number one priority. Okay, no matter what you do, you want to become financial advisor, you want to become cyclist, whatever your job, the ultimate goal in your job is to please Allah. If you know that whatever you are doing is to please Allah, carry on. You can consider getting married. The next one, the purpose of Allah allow a husband and wife to get married is because Allah want, in Surah Rum verse number 21, Allah said what? Allah want us to find comfort and tranquility. If you are not comfortable with yourself, you are not at peace with yourself, then you are not ready to get married lah. Okay, so you must be comfortable with yourself, you must love and like yourself, you must approve and accept yourself 100%, then only you are ready to get married. The next one, you need to understand, Allah ordain atau Allah allow, encourage us as human to get married is because to protect 5 things. Number one is to protect the offspring. Because in order for our generation to grow, we must make sure our children come from a good background, family, not from any Tom or Dick. Next, marriage is to protect the property. Okay, so when we get married, usually we will get a house, get something that is considered property. So we need to guard and maintain it well. The third reason to get married is to protect our honor, our name. Okay, to protect our mental, to become more intelligent, not to become more depressed. And last but not least, getting married is because we want to protect our iman. We want our iman to become stronger. We want our bond with Allah become closer. Okay, become stronger, not become further or become apart from Allah. Okay, after you understand the 5 reasons or objective why Allah encourage us to get married, now is for you to focus more on yourself. Number one, do you know who is Allah? Do you really know who Allah is? Is Allah the loving God or Allah is the angry God in your life? Okay, you must really know the 99 names of Allah, the 20 sifat of Allah, all His character. You must really believe, have full 100% confident that Allah is the only God worthy of worship. Okay? And then, this is the most important thing. You must know yourself. Okay, you must know what is your love language, what is your apology language, what is your anger style, what is your attachment style. Is your attachment style healthy or unhealthy? How to become better person? What is your communication skill? What can become can trigger you to become low? What can make you happy? What can make you feel unhappy? All this you must know. You must know how to make yourself happy first, and then you can move on to get married. After that, you must learn your roles and your responsibilities. As a woman, what is your roles? As a daughter, how to become a good daughter. As a Muslimah, how to become a good Muslimah. And as a wife, how to become a good wife. Okay? Good wife is not a doormat. Good wife is someone who motivates each other to be closer to Allah. And you must know what is your boundaries. You must know what is your right. So before you demand your right, you must fulfill your responsibilities first. Okay. And the last point is what must you know before deciding on getting married is the most important basic, you must know Allah and you must know yourself. If you truly understand and know who you are and know Allah, insyaAllah, Allah will guide your ways.
MashaAllah, shukran Ustazah. Okay, so we go to I think it's the final question before the Q&A because there's a lot of questions that we can go through later. Ustazah Bushra, what are the conditions now for a successful marriage? Okay, so we all want to know the recipe of a long-lasting relationship and a loving one, inshallah. So a successful marriage, inshallah.
Okay. When you talk about successful marriage, right, I would say we talk about the Islamic, sense of a successful marriage. Because a marriage, if you look, there are people who are happily married, but they are both very far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they are happily married, but they are, spending time, maybe, out there enjoying their time, disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together, raising kids that disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or maybe doesn't even recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That I would say is not a successful marriage because yes, it looks like a successful marriage in this world, but our meaning of success is that you are successful both in the world and in the hereafter, which is the reason why we get married in the first place, right? So that we both get closer to Allah, we both can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together, raise children who are aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, conscious of Allah, and follow the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I would say when you look at a successful marriage, Islamically, you would say that a person or a marriage that both spouses have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a focal point. So both of them, their view, when you say what is their view, right? Their view is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the center of everything. Whatever it is decision that they make, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes first. To have more kids or not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is at the center of their decision. To educate their children with religion or without religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is at the focal point. To live their life or maybe choose a place of living, before making that decision, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes first in that equation before they make any kind of decision in that marriage. So I would say, to me, personally, I see that as a successful marriage. I feel like, inshallah, even if this couple were to go, they will have difficulties or differences of opinion in any issues, because Allah is at the focal point, inshallah, they would come back together where things, there are stages, right? So there is this stage, they might be very far. until the very top, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the top of everything, they will come closer, and it is because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so that's one. Number two, both partners are complete individuals as themselves. Without marriage, before getting married, they are complete with themselves. Yeah, that means, like say Ustazah Nemaat, before she got married, she herself, she knows what she wants. She knows how to be a good Muslim. She is a practicing Muslimah because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She knows that yes, ultimately inshallah, if there is rizki or jodoh, she would get married. But will she force it? Like, if somebody come and 6:30, will she settle? No, because she knows that by herself she can still survive and she will do okay without getting married. She is complete, complete, okay. But if a marriage comes, then alhamdulillah, it would be a good thing. So both partners are complete individuals by themselves before getting married or when they are alone. Number three, both partners understand and are willing to do their part in that relationship, in that marriage. They both know that, okay, if I enter this marriage, me as a woman, I'm going to be a mother. I am going to be pregnant. I am going to have to bear a child. I might need to, feed and nurse this child for 2 years, maybe. I might need to nurture. I might need to care for a baby, or maybe have more, The wife knows that, and the husband understands that, oh, I'm going to be a leader of the family. I will need to provide. I need to make sure that both my children, both my wife and my children, feel that I am a just leader. I am a person who fear Allah. I am not going to make them feel that they are oppressed. I am not going to make them feel that they do not have enough. I'm going to try to meet everything that they need. I'm going to be supportive. I'm going to be just. I'm going to be good. So both husband and wife understand their role, and their responsibilities, and both of them are ready to make compromises and sacrifices when needed. Okay, so I think that is the how a successful marriage should be lah.
I mean, inshallah, everyone, all of you will get a successful marriage. I pray for all of you. Okay, so another important question. Every question is important here. This one is open to both of you, Ustazah Nemaat and Ustazah Bushra. How do you know that he is the one? Are there signs to show he is the one? Okay, so we are now opening for Q&A. Anyone can just drop your questions kat Slido, okay? Yeah, so the first question is, I repeat again, how do you know he is the one, and are there signs to show that he is the one? Ustazah Nemaat, can go?
Okay, for me personally, I don't believe in he is the one until he shake the hand with your father and you sign the surat nikah, then he is the one lah. Okay, so a guy can show interest, but if he is not serious in meeting your father and making a commitment, then he's not the one. Okay, there's no sign shows that he will be your one. But usually, for those who think if he is the one, usually you don't want to become boyfriend, girlfriend first. That is good. So you want to straight away start the relationship with getting to know, or we call it ta'aruf. Okay, so you have your own expectation, right? A husband to me must at least salat 5 times a day, have a stable job, for example, slightly taller than me, can control his emotion, maybe lah. This is your checklist. You have your own checklist, right? So when you see all the checklist, the most important thing, like he respect his parent, he is a responsible person. Okay, you think this is the most important checklist in your checklist, then if your heart is ready to open up, talk to your parent or someone who is important in your life, then maybe you can carry on with the next step, insyaAllah.
Okay, so Ustazah Bushra, would you like to answer the question as well?
Okay. For me, I feel like you will never know if he's the right person. But like Ustazah Nemaat said lah, there's always this, whatever meets your criteria, make you feel that he is the right person. Ultimately, though, how a person is, you will only really know after marriage. But if they tick those boxes for me, and they tick the boxes that you feel this is the set of roles and this is the set of criteria that I have set for my husband. If they tick that role, that criteria, then inshallah that's okay. I would always say that when you enter marriage, you should enter marriage with istikhara. So whether it turned out okay or not, even if that person tick all the boxes and then when you enter marriage and it doesn't work out, say, for whatever reason, you will be at a state of rida, acceptance. You'll be very accepting because, you know that I went through this in the proper way. I did not make that decision based on my, my planning and my intention and without consulting into Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. But I actually did, and I already made, and it becomes easy. And then I got into the marriage. Then it didn't work out. It's still okay, because you know that okay, Allah wanted me to go through that lah. There will always be good in it like that.
So I can say that macam that is why we have to be self-aware before we are able to answer the question, is he the one for me? Because if we are not self-aware of ourselves, what are our ways, our characteristics, our criteria, what our checklists are, then how are we, if we find someone, is he the right for me? Is he the right one for me? I wouldn't know if I'm not sure of who is Fatimah, for example, right? Okay. So, the second question, how to tell the difference between genuine deal breakers for not wanting to get married versus test of shaitan with the izin of Allah? Yeah. Okay.
I would say there are genuine deal breakers, right? Genuine deal breakers are usually things that are not dependent on your emotions. Okay, so there are people who have met the person who is considered decent. I would say decent enough to be a husband. Yet, because of emotions clouding their decision, like they are like, oh, but he merajuk. And then because of that merajuk, then he don't know how to pujuk me. And then like this, like that. Then they like the because of that emotions clouding their decision, they reject that. They are like, okay, because of that, now I no longer want to get married to that person. Because I'm going to find a person who is going to meet that part. If merajuk, like they manjakan or that part, these are important. Yes, maybe it's important for that person and we're not going to invalidate that. But is this the most important thing? I mean, if you look at the whole package just now, I was telling about all the red flags. There are so many things, right? If a person can pass that at least, I mean, that is already pretty good lah. Some people will still have that, but it will be like at least at the yellow stage, no, not at the red part. Then for me, that is already good. But smaller things like, oh, he don't have time for me because he is so busy working. But you also have to consider lah, okay, is he busy working to marry you? So is this a valid kind of, merajuk? Are you going to merajuk because he's working really hard so that he can, have that majlis kahwin? Maybe he does have to work like 2 or 3 jobs, right? So if he cannot call or he is always sleeping, then that person like, oh, he is always sleeping, then merajuk. But it's night time. Like, I think that's time for him. So these are things that is like, and these are things for me, like you only go through it because you are in a relationship that is not halal also. Right. If you are in a halal relationship, that means you have that objective of marriage very clearly. Then this kind of like, oh, don't have time to talk on the phone, don't have time to pujuk, don't have this kind of thing, you will not consider it as the biggest thing, because your focus right now, okay, this is the man that I'm going to build a family with. Ultimately, the bigger goal here is that we both can support each other, we can bring each other, motivate each other to be closer to Allah, to be also successful in the world. You know, he's going to bring out the best in me, I'm going to bring out the best in him. So when we are teammates like that, right, there are certain things that you have to, compromise. This is the compromise part. But for me, if it's too emotional kind of reason, right? These kind of reason are not. These are like not a valid reason. But if it's games of shaitan, right? Like games of shaitan, this could be it. Sometimes good marriage, but then during the what do they call it? Engagement period, these things happen. It could be games of shaitan. But if it's really from those like red flags, you have to be very careful, because usually during the engagement period you can already see these things. Some things take longer to detect, but once you are aware, you at least now know what are the red flags to look out for. So when you see that a person is overly sensitive, is this sensitiveness coming from where is it coming from? Is it lack of confidence? Is it what? Or possessive? Is this jealousy, extreme jealousy? So at least you know where to look out for. Okay, so that I would consider a valid reason to maybe even cancel a wedding.
Thank you. Ustazah Nemaat, do you want to add on to the question? Okay. So we have another question here on ta'aruf. So what is ta'aruf and how to go about the process?
Okay, ta'aruf. Ta'aruf is an Arabic word. Means getting to know each other. The main intention is to get married. So if you want to get married to someone, we need to know at least something about that person. Okay, you must know at least the name, the occupation, the faith, what type of believer. Is he a strong believer ke? There's not some a believer mean a believer lah. Dia tak ada believer main-main ke, believer 100% ke 50-50, tak ada. Okay, you must need to know. So ta'aruf, okay, usually it's either the guy who start or the girl start first. But the intention is wanting to know if there is something similarity or common thing that you can work together as a team. Okay, you find out if according to the question, maybe you have, you can Google, there will be 100 questions. But I tell you, you don't have to ask until 100 questions lah. Okay, you have to ask basic like, what is your view about Allah? What is your belief? Okay, what is Islam to you? How are we going to raise the kid if we have a kid? Do we want to have a kid? How many? Like that, right? If the answer is according to what is your checklist or your liking, then go ahead lah. But again, before I forget, I must remind, ta'aruf is like when you listen or you know someone is interested to get to know you because they want to get married to you, the first thing is you ask your parent first. Okay, Umi, Abi ke, Mama, Daddy ke. Okay, someone say he is interested to get to know me to get married. Should I proceed with the ta'aruf session? If your parents say yes, then Bismillah. If your parents say no, insyaAllah there will be a better person. Okay, so let's say Alhamdulillah your parents say yes. Okay, get to know. If COVID time, maybe you use Zoom, but you must make sure that the ta'aruf session is not just you and that guy talking. You must your parents sitting around the room, so you are not alone. Or if possible, welcome that person to your house with your parent present. Okay. Beside, there's a sunnah also for the person who are interested to get married. for the guy to have a look on the girl's face, right? Okay, so like macam tu really tahulah, okay, if you want to buy something, you must know, right? Chocolate made of what? From which country? How much? Okay, if I buy 10 pieces, how much is the price? If I buy big, yeah. So same lah. We just know the basic. You don't have to have get to know the detail information. Once the basic information is known, both can accept each other, and then decide the date to get engaged or the date to get nikah. Not, oh, okay lah, since we already ta'aruf, I think we are a good match, so you can become teammate. Let's be friends for the next 6 months, and then 6 months later we get engaged. That is not ta'aruf. Okay? So, a few asatiza in Singapore, which I really respect them. I cannot mention name, but I know him because he wrote on his Facebook. He said, he shared with his friend that he is ready to get married. Do you have anyone that are that are ready for marriage? Kata, I think I know my cousin. So this guy go and talk to his auntie. 2 days later, this ustaz go and meet that prospect female. They talk about half an hour. The next day, the guy called the parent, go and send the ring, and then within 1 week they get married. That is not rush marriage. If you know what is the criteria, what is your expectation, and you yourself are ready, you mentally ready, emotionally ready, financially okay. When the perfect match come, Bismillah, the marriage will be done, insyaAllah. That is ta'aruf, okay?
A question that is also related to ta'aruf. So what is a good wise period to get married after knowing him, and how do we approach it during the ta'aruf process? So we can answer this question also looking to those who don't have a father, tak ada wali. So how should this person approach?
Okay. How to know whether you are suitable to get married? Again, when your intention is right, you will have the feeling lah. That Allah already tell you, okay, this is the right time. You will feel everything will work according to plan. But if it's not the one, you can sense something is not right. You are not comfortable with the ta'aruf session. Then that is the sign lah. You don't have to. If it's not right. The moment you listen to you heard the name, you know it's not the one. So, how to have that very clear gut feeling that is sincerely because of Allah? You must free your mindset from cultural dictates. You cannot have certain stereotype. Like for example, you say Malay equal to lazy lah. For example, you cannot have that time. Okay, kalau if Indian confirm hot tempered, if you have this mindset, it will cloud your decision. So you must be open. Every human being was created by Allah beautifully, and you have to ask Allah, Ya Allah, if marriage is the best for me, assist. If marriage is not best for my iman, allow me to be something else. Allow me to become your tools to spread your religion. That should be your doa. Don't, Ya Allah, please allow me to get married to this person. I want to get married. That is not the right doa. You should ask, Ya Allah, if marriage is the best for me, allow the marriage to happen. If marriage is not the right thing for me, then occupy my heart, occupy my life with something else will benefit me for Allah. So, how to know? There's no time limit. You yourself can only can decide.
Okay.
Bismillah. Assalamualaikum Ustazah. I am directing this to Ustazah Nemaat. A point that you brought up about rejection. So if some circumstances happen, and if at that point of time things cannot happen, is it okay to say, let's put a pause to it and continue the ta'aruf at a later time? And second question is, if let's say the the lady's parents are not approving of the potential spouse and how to go about the situation. I have one more question. This one is for Ustazah Bushra. How do you address the codependency issue with your potential spouse? Like if you feel that this person has that traits, like how to raise it to like better improve, so that like you know when you go into that marriage, it's not something that will be an issue in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, for me, in this life, we want Allah's blessing, right? So if you feel something is not right, or the ta'aruf session doesn't go so right, it is okay for you to move on. You say, Ya Allah, if this is not the one, take him away from me. But if he is the one for me, when the time is right, let us meet again. But you don't hold on to that person. You only hold on to that, I am stopping myself from having boyfriend or girlfriend because of Allah. Okay, I want to start my relationship as a husband and wife because of Allah. So you don't feel miserable just because the ta'aruf session doesn't happen. Okay, for like myself, my personal experience, I went through 2 failed ta'aruf and the third one only success lah. So you have to, the faster you let go, the more you will find the one that you are looking for. Okay, so that's one thing. As if parent doesn't approve, then just as I said, don't proceed, because we need our parents. Okay, of course our parents are not going to stay with us anymore, but their blessing, their rida is something is very important. We want to build something new. At the same time, you want to preserve the old one that who love us from the young. There is our parent. Be it our parent or the husband parent. So both parents must accept each other. They cannot accept, it's okay. Doa. If my personal experience, this one couple, he really want to get married, but the mother doesn't allow. So they go separate ways. Both doesn't get married, but Alhamdulillah, I'm not saying Alhamdulillah, but anything that happened to a Muslim is Alhamdulillah, right? After the mom passed away, suddenly their path met again. So they get married. So in this relationship, we really need to hang on to Allah. Okay? Ask Allah for guidance, ask Allah to lead us through the right path, insyaAllah.
Okay. About the issue of codependency, right? I feel like the issue of codependency is something that a person should address by themselves, or a person should address by himself, okay? So if you realize that you have codependency, then you should look into why you have it. You can bring it up to the potential spouse, I would say, that they have a codependency issue, but it depends on them on how they want to take it. Most people don't take it well. I mean, just put yourself in that situation and somebody raise it up. Hey, do you know that you are narcissistic? It's so funny. No, I don't think people would say that. But yeah, imagine this. Like, do you know that you are very extremely jealous? I think you have this, extreme jealousy issue. It's going to be very difficult to take. But if you manage to get through, say, then one of the things that I think as a Muslim we can remind people that have codependency is that your dependency should never be on a human being, right? As a Muslim, our dependency, we should be dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Now this is a very dangerous thing when a Muslim have dependency issues with human beings, other human beings, because it means that you should be in a situation where you understand that this life is very temporary. Human beings are the most temporary ones in life, like say you found the most perfect person and you want to hold on and grip and cling onto that person, and that person is a nice person, he also respects you and he's okay with you clinging to him, say. But right now, that person is a human being, a mere human being. Human being maknanya, right, what's the meaning of it is that that person have no idea how long he's going to live in this world. So there is a possibility that the person can drop dead, like after a few seconds of you clinging onto him. Then what's going to happen to you then? It's very unhealthy on so many levels. We have seen people, and I have seen in front of my eyes people who have been married for 25 or 35, and there are people who have been married, like they are old, they grew old together, but they are codependent. So what happens is that when the husband falls sick and no longer can support the wife's dependency needs, the wife starts to lose it and start to become mentally ill because she feels rejected. So until the fact that, and this really happened, my friend, like she mentioned this to me, that when that man fell and got stroke and the heart stops and they wanted to call an ambulance, and the wife said, no, don't you dare, leave him here, I need him here. And because of that, that person, they said because of that, the person became, bedridden fully. Because for about 15 to 20 minutes, they had to fight with her to call the ambulance. And she was fighting with her own children. She said, don't you dare call the ambulance. If you all call the ambulance, you are all anak derhaka. This is my husband. Don't you dare take him away from me. So what happened is that when the husband got stroke, do you know what happened to her? Soon enough, she got blood pressure and then she had stroke too, because she cannot handle it. And there were a lot of other issues, which is mental related issues, means it shows that this person is codependent on another person. And you have heard stories about a person when the husband passed away, after a few days the wife passed away, or the wife passed away, the husband cannot live, pass away. Codependent. But now that issue is solved, say. But how are you going to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that, Ya Allah, in my heart, this person is first. You are second. What happens, right? So this is the issue of codependency. And we always, as I think as Muslims, we always have to remind each other, don't cling on to human beings. The Prophet ﷺ, when he passed away, and this is the best of creation, we say, Umar ibn al-Khattab went out and took out his, sword, right? And he was like, whoever said that Muhammad has passed away or died, I'm going to kill them. What did Abu Bakr as-Siddiq say? Whoever worship Muhammad. And obviously, Umar ibn al-Khattab did not worship Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he loved Prophet Muhammad so much. And they were all dependent on him, definitely at that time. But to what extent? As a Muslim, we cannot be codependent on another human being, to the extent that even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we cannot be dependent fully on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because we are only dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the question of iman, question of faith. Okay, so this is a huge thing, and I think maybe that's one way to come to that realization. Hopefully, it can bring that person back to refocus back our intention, why we are here in the world. Like Ustazah Nemaat say, we are here first because we are created to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without it, without worshipping Allah, there is no use for us being here. So if we are dependent on another human being, what is your use now? Right? Question mark. So, yeah, Ustazah.
Actually, we have come to the end of the majlis, but we have a few more questions. Are you guys okay? Should we continue? Can? Okay, we continue, okay? So, one question here says, what if parents disapprove of the potential partner due to race? Is that a sign? Should the marriage still go on?
Okay, so back to just now, regardless of the reason why your parent disapprove of the marriage, it is best for you to listen to your mom or your father. Okay, but if you think race is not something big issue or your mom shouldn't be rejected about it, you talk nicely to her lah. Make her understand why you think this person is a good prospect, why you want to live your life with this person, and ask your mom not to accept that person but to make dua that this is the right marriage. But usually, according to experience, I saw a lot of people, if the mommy or the mother say no, the marriage was not going to last. So always listen to your mom, okay? Maybe it's going to be heartbroken, you feel pain, but Allah will definitely give you something better, insyaAllah. Trust in that.
Okay, I take another question. So, lady feels guy has a lot of inner work to do emotionally. She sometimes feels overwhelmed. Is it a red flag or should they work on communication?
I think the number one thing that she should do is to identify whether this is a red flag or a yellow flag. Is it something that can be worked out? See, internal issues are things that that person is going to bring with him to the marriage. So if before the marriage you are living separately, you are not having to make decisions together, you are already overwhelmed, this is not a good sign, I would say. This is definitely not a good sign, because take that, multiply it by 10, that's going to be your marriage, or maybe even 20, or multiply it by 30 even. It's going to be intense. So if you are already overwhelmed and drained right now, not staying with this person, imagine spending 24/7, making all big decisions in life, going through pregnancy. When you are emotionally, remember this, women, ladies, when you are pregnant, your emotions are going to be haywire. You will need somebody who is grounded and secure and make you feel grounded and secure. If you enter a marriage and you are the one who is handling everything until you are drained and tired, then during pregnancy, during the time where you are sick and tired and need the support, who is going to support you? Who is going to hold you? The leader of the family is still the guy. The guy should be the one who can give or render support. How is it that the leader of the family cannot be the one that you lean on? Then you are going to be the one who is wearing the pants in the relationship. You are going to be masculine in the relationship, which is really, I tell you, a lot of women nowadays, you look at them, they become very masculine after they get married. Why? Because instead of becoming the wife, they become the parent. They become the husband. So they have to make very difficult decisions. They have to mother a child, a baby, and also mother the husband. Not good. You need to have some sort of security. You must see that this person is a leader. Okay, that have the qualities. For me, maybe not a red flag point. Even if it's not a red flag, it's something that can be fixed, but don't proceed until you know that these things are solved. Okay?
Okay, so one more question here. Guy wants to get married to avoid fitnah. Lady feels they should wait. Should both still maintain communication and reconvene after a period?
Okay, for me, that is the sign that both of you are not ready to get married lah. Okay, the guy want to get married because they want to protect themselves from fitnah, which is good. But the female say it's not the right time yet. So it's not the right time for both of you. Stop the communication and move on. Okay, I met a few ladies who, when I asked them, why you get married now? Oh, because my husband want to get married to me lah. And you don't want to get married to him. No lah, he is the one who want to get married to me. No. Okay. Then when something happen, the marriage doesn't work out, you see lah. Because my husband want to get married to me, but now that we are divorced. No, it take two to tango, right? So when the husband want to get married because to protect themselves from fitnah, which is good, which is okay. But if the lady feel it's not the right time, then both of you should end the story. No communication some more. Okay, that's all.
Should we take another one question or two question? I don't know. Okay, so how to determine you are emotionally available already?
Okay, you are okay to tell or talk about something sensitive, something vulnerable. You are okay to open up to that person. And you also are okay to accept you have certain weakness. And then in communication, you can communicate effectively, consistently, and whatever you say, you prove with action. That is to show that you are emotionally available lah. There are more, but because I'm not professional, I think this is the most important thing lah. You when you talk, you are consistent and you prove your word. And number two, you are open to show your vulnerability. Because if you are not vulnerable, you hide something, right? Then you cannot accept love. When you cannot accept love, you also cannot give love. Okay? That's my take.
Okay, Ustazah, we have a few more questions, tapi I think it's we can end here lah. Maybe if any one of you have any more questions, can visit the Ustazahs in their respective IG social media. Maybe can end with a doa, Ustazah, and we will close the majlis insyaAllah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعه ونصره ووالاه اللهم إن هذه القلوب قد اجتمعت على محبتك والتقت على طاعتك وتوحدت على دعوتك وتعاهدت على نصرة شريعتك فوثق اللهم رابطتها وأدم مدها واهدها سبلها واملأها بنورك الذي لا يخبو واشرح صدورها بفيض الإيمان بك وجميل التوكل عليك وأحيها بمعرفتك وأمتها على الشهادة في سبيلك إنك نعم المولى ونعم النصير وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Shukran Ustazah Nemaat and Ustazah Bushra for being with us, and thank you everyone. If you have any questions, boleh ke depan. The Asatizahs are here, okay? And we have some light refreshments at the back, can just take, okay? Thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.